today to tackle about the chapter 13. And good afternoon, especially to our handsome, beloved instructor, Mr. Miljun Panulu. So today, we are here again to tackle the Global Governance chapter 13. But before we proceed to our respective reports, let us introduce ourselves. Therefore, I am Megan Salinas Flores.
I am Divine Grace A. Sandoval.
And I am Erica Marie Ibrana.
So, global governance. So, what comes in your mind when global governance? So, for me, global governance is about governing the world, that governments in the international law, that institutions serve as missionaries to address issues, that it transcends the state borders, thereby pursuing cooperation for mutual beneficial outcomes. So therefore, I think global governance is going to tackle about the world that is going to be organized in institutions, which is why there is globalization, which is that globalization was implemented through the global governance. So global governance has two major roles, which is the international law and the international organization. So the international law has two sources of internationals, which is the treaties and the customary practices. So the treaties meaning that the treaties is a kind of document that is similar to some written contracts, that which is like given to some organized groups, like for example the global known as the charters, pacts, and the conventions or the covenants. There are some of the main sources of the international law. So moving on to the customary practices. The customary practices is a kind of international custom or customary practices refers to the establishment or the established consistent practice of the state of the international relations. This is where one of the sources of the international law. So while the treaty and the customary practices are belonging to the source of the international law, the differences between them that the treaty is a kind of document that you're going to write, or somehow it's like a letter, or it's a convinced letter to write for something, or something to pledge, while the customary practice is you're going to represent yourself, or it's like the for example in the state that the state is going to have a meeting in USA. So Philippines will have a representative to go to USA for a World Organization meeting. So the areas of international law. Has two. It has human rights and the warfare aggression. So the human rights. As we all know, human rights was convinced by our own selves. We all have human rights. But there is a but about the human rights, because not all human rights can be convinced by the government or the governance, because the rules by now, because of the laws of the international laws. But again, the human rights arises. So the warfare aggregation. So the warfare aggregation is a kind of is the second important area of international law that concerns the states conduct during periods of the warfare in their nation. Warfare is a kind of military fighting that is or an activity that is done part of a struggle between competing groups or companies or other global organizations. So aggression is a angry or violent behavior or feeling. So moving on. So the organization.
The international organization. International organization has two parts, which are the intergovernmental organizations and the non-governmental organizations. And now let me tackle the intergovernmental organizations. The intergovernmental organizations and the non-governmental organizations are associations of sovereign states that are established through formal agreements. And the intergovernmental organization includes the following: the United Nations, African Union, the Arab League, and the European Union. Then it has also the United Nations system. The United Nations system, it has 6 primary organs, which are the first is the General Assembly, the Security Council, the Economic and Social Council, the Secretarial, the Trusteeship Council, and the last one is the International Court of Justice. Then now let's move on to Secretary Council. Secretary Council was designed to be the sword beside the UN's 5 branch, and it is also charged with organizing collective security operations and dispatching observer missions and peacekeeping troops. Then next is the conflict and cooperation in the Security Council. The first 5 years of the Security Council's existence, the USSR used the veto for 47 times. The United States 0. In fact, the United States did not veto a single Security Council resolution until 1970. Then next is the Secretariat and Secretary General. The Secretariat and the Secretary General is headed by the Secretary General, who serves as a renewable for 5 years term and report to the General Assembly. The Secretariat is the UN's chief administrative bodies. Then next is the International Court of Justice. It is also known as the World Court, and it is also the principal judicial organ of the United Nations. And the next one is the Economic and Social Council. The Economic and Social Council, it is responsible for coordinating the work of the United Family of more specialized agencies have sought to accomplish or have drawn widespread criticism.
So let's head on the economic IGOs. So whereas the United Nations focused on security and peace for the international system, the economic IGOs more focus on the economy for global issues. Then we have the 3 important organizations, namely the World Bank, the IMF, the GATT, or the WTO. So what is World Bank? World Bank seeks to eliminate poverty. It is a financer of development projects. Projects like dam, highways, roads, and commercial programs. And then it provides billions of dollars of loans for those who are lack of money. And then it works with the government, NGOs, and private sector. And then the IMF, or the International Monetary Fund. And International Monetary Fund it is created to regulate and liberalize the international monetary system to facilitate the global trade and investment. Its goal is to promote the international monetary cooperation and exchange stability. It helps to prevent the monetary crisis by promoting exchange rate stability in orderly correction of balance payment problems and discouraging countries from competitively devaluing their currencies. International Monetary Fund acts as a lender of last resort to members having difficulty making good loans, as long as those countries are willing to undertake economic reforms. In contrary, the IMF lends for a short term, then the World Bank lends for a long term for development. And then let's move on to GATT, or the General Agreement on Tariffs and Free Trade, and the World Trade Organization. So what is agreement? The agreement to promote free trade between the members of the state, not only by regulating and reducing barriers to trade, but also by providing a shared mechanism for resolving the trade-related disputes. Ngayon, this GATT was failed on 1982. Then after 8 years, the motion that was set by the minister, the Uruguay round, was successfully completed, and the WTO was born. So what is WTO? The World Trade Organization. WTO is a real institution with structure and staff, with 153 states members. The WTO covers the wider range of trade issues. And then, pagka 1999, the protesters in the streets of Seattle is against the WTO. Why? Because WTO only motivated on trade liberalization, but they are less on environmental protection. For example, is the China, because the China thinks only what's the outcomes of their free trade, but they don't consider the environmental protection. So NGOs. What is NGOs? The non-governmental organization. It is a organization that operates across national countries, independent from the government. Examples of this are the Roman Catholic, the International Red Cross, Amnesty International, and the Greenpeace. The NGOs cannot command resources rather than IGOs, because the NGOs focus their efforts to maximize their effectiveness. And then also the NGOs are the important player in the global governance, because their functions are domain in the states that may affect the state sovereignty. Then the NGOs have the power also, the information power. So what's this information power? Information power, it is the access routes to the information about how particular policies may affect a particular people, and that government and IGOs don't have. For example, the UN relies heavily on the NGOs because they knew that NGOs have that power to get all those people or something. And then NGOs also use the media as their power, because they convey messages and goals through media that may result to globalization. So what are the actions made by the NGOs? So here are the organizations like the International Relief Agency, the ICRC, International Relief Agency in the strict morality to alleviate suffering by becoming involved in politics. And then the WWF, or the Worldwide Fund, that conserving the globe's biodiversity, so used by sustainable renewable natural resources, promotion and pollution reduction. The GP, or the Greenpeace, it is the awareness of various global environmental problems. So basically, the Greenpeace is more on focus on what is the problem in the environment, while the Oxfam, it is found in Britain. It works to end the poverty and injustice, And then the last one is the ICC, or the International Chamber of Commerce. This organization or institution, it promotes trade and investment. ICC promotes trade and investment, markets, and free flow of capital. So, all of this topic, we see how international law and organization, how they constitute to be both conflict and cooperation in the international system. The international law and international organization tell us how we should act and why. Have weak enforcement mechanism, but they can still give a country or a states and leaders on how to behave or act in ways that benefit the global community without that national interest and or the liberalization. So that's our report for group